Hello, friends. Happy Thursday. I am jumping on today with another Thursday Thoughts video. This one should be really short and sweet. It's just something that, again, I learned this week, something that kind of came to mind. And 2 weekends ago, I was in Iowa at a graduation party, and everybody kept saying the same thing to the graduate. They were like, man, just remember your high school years are the best you'll ever have. And I haven't heard that in so long because I graduated from high school like a million years ago. So I just hadn't heard that in a while. I started thinking about that a little bit, thinking about my own high school experience. I have a pretty rare experience. I was in a small school, graduating class of 52. So I think to a degree, every single person goes through insecurities, bullying, kind of like being left out, things like that in that season. But I do understand that my experience is pretty rare compared to most people who maybe went to massive public schools, and just their experience at those places. But I actually really enjoyed high school. I have a lot of great memories. I have a lot of great friends. But I really started taking into account what they were saying to this graduate, and I started really thinking about that. Like, is that the best time I've ever had in my life? What season would I dictate as the best season of my life? And what's funny is I really started to realize I think right now is the best season of my life, which if you had not mentally gotten me to that point, I would have told you right now is really tough. I feel really stuck. I feel like I'm not growing in a lot of areas. I feel like I'm in the same place I was physically 2 years ago. I get frustrated. But when I started thinking about it, kind of transitioning to this week's topic and this week's lesson is really on a viewpoint of gratitude, a viewpoint of being grateful. I can either choose to be upset because I'm not where I want to be. I turn 25 on Sunday. So, you kind of hit those like landmark birthdays and you're like, oh, by 25, like I thought I'd have all these things. And I don't really have a lot of the things on the checklist that I wanted checked off by 25. And so I've kind of gone through the last couple months in anticipation of my birthday being a little upset about that and really deciding to focus on those things subconsciously. It wasn't a conscious, like I woke up and I was like, today I'm going to focus on the things I don't have. It's something that kind of happens. You guys get it. You guys probably feel that. But the Lord really turned that conversation and went, what is the best season of your life? And I have to say right now, because thinking back to high school and the time in between, about 7 years since I graduated, I own my own car. I graduated college and I'm working a job that has regulated hours and I'm off on the weekends. And even 2 years ago, I didn't have a car and I was working retail in really wacky hours and I had just barely graduated from college. And just thinking about, sometimes it's so easy to forget the things that we have accomplished or the things that we do have because we're in pursuit of the future. And sometimes we can look back in the past and be riddled with guilt, but sometimes it's good to look back even a month, 6 months, a year ago and go, what is different now from that time? Because that will really open your eyes to the growth that you've had instead of the things that you haven't yet received. Because I guarantee you, I will have a house at some point. I will be married. I will have children. I will have probably a pet or two. The things that I am really skilled in will probably be even more sharpened and more useful in the future. And my influence, hopefully, if it's the will of the Lord, I will be able to have a bigger platform to speak on in the future. But if I choose to be ungrateful for the things I have right now and only focused in a negative sense of not having those things, then I'm just going to feel really stuck. And it's not a false positivity. It's just a shift of perspective to, I'm really excited for those things, but I don't have those yet. What do I have? So I have this, and this. And on the past 5 years of my life, I've accomplished this, and this. And it really helps you, especially if you're someone like me. I can be very like performance driven and like perfectionistic. So I tend to look at like the 1% that didn't go right instead of the 99. And sometimes we just need to shift our perspective to create a more grateful heart. Before I go, I'll leave you with this one final thought. In Exodus 14:14, it says that the Lord will fight for you. And that's a couple chapters after it says that the Israelites, who they were in slavery in Egypt, now they're in the desert and they've been promised something greater, but they're in that kind of like in between stage. And there's a verse a couple chapters before, and it says that they could have gone an easy, straightforward route, but that they were not ready for it. And so the Lord kind of like led them around the desert for 40 years until they were ready for the promised land. And so when we're focusing again on where we're at right now, I feel stuck, I feel in transition, I feel just in this place where I'm not growing. Shift that perspective as well, because the Lord is fighting for you, as it says in Exodus 14:14. The Lord will fight for you in this season. He fought for you in the past. He'll fight for you in the future, and he's directing your steps. And even though you can look at the most efficient and what looks like the most effective way for you to get somewhere quickly, sometimes the Lord has a couple more things to teach you in the season in between. And so don't get discouraged, and please do not lose spirit in the season of waiting. I hope you all have a great week and a blessed Thursday. I will see you next week.